What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Monday. It's Thanksgiving week. And what a week it's going to be. It's going to be a really fun week. A lot of great shows. We're going to be doing some reviews. I got the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye that's going to come out. I'm going to review that. I got House of Gucci. We've got the last rewatch of the Spider-Man movies, the Into the Spider-Verse. Matt Serra is coming on the show on Wednesday, so that's going to be a blast. And then today I got my buddy, Mark Ellis. He's going to be on. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. He didn't get a chance to see Rocky VS Drago yet, but he'll talk to me about it.
I had a chance.
You had a chance. He just didn't watch it. That's true. And he'll also talk about, we'll talk some Spider-Man. We'll talk about upcoming movies, whether it's Matrix or any of these things that we got coming out. And going back to the movie theaters again and how that's been, at least for me, because I don't think he's done anything. So we'll talk about that as well. So what I'd like you guys to do, first of all, subscribe to the new channel. If you haven't done that, please do that. Subscribe and hit that notification button. Please, it is very, very important. And if you can, also, the way to do this is to go to the podcast feed. Go to the podcast feed and either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Go on over there, rate, review, all that. Audio is very, very important. And I thank you guys. And we're going to get into this. It's myself. It's Mark Ellis. We're going to be talking about a great many things. It's the big thing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is a big thing. And happy Thanksgiving week. You're going to be with your families, doing great stuff, stuffing, whatnot. Look at this guy. Look at this Mark Ellis.
Stuffing fan right here.
How you doing, buddy?
I like it when it's just like the outer rim of the stuff, the burnt.
Yeah.
I don't like meals that are properly prepared. I found this out about myself.
Why is that?
I either want it burnt or I want it not burned enough. Like if you're making me breadsticks, I want them doughy. You know, I don't want them fully cooked. I want them a little doughy.
Why is
Same
that?
with my cookies. I want them very soft baked. But then if I'm like getting meat or like stuffing or something like that, I want a little char to it. So if it's perfectly cooked as the instructions say, disgusting.
Let me ask you a question.
Hit me.
Who hurt you as a child? What happened?
I think it all started when I put that Black Sabbath tape in Teddy Ruxpin's back, and he just started saying things that I wasn't prepared for a toy bear to say.
I can't review much on House of Gucci until it comes out, but there is a cameo by Teddy Ruxpin in the movie.
No crap, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, is this you saw the movie or you just went over to Tom Dagnino's house?
Both. No, I saw the movie. He was supposed to come with me, but to no one's surprise,
he
he didn't show up. So you knew that was going to happen.
What? I don't have to.
He's like,
I'm in the movie.
Well, look, here's the thing.
Croatia.
I got a lot of things going on at the minute. Why'd you tell me you want to go? I want to go. I just don't know if I can.
He expressed desire.
Yeah, and I was like, well, the movie, what time do I got to be there? Well, this thing starts at 4. It'd be great if you got there like 3:40, but I'll hold you a seat and get there at 4. And let me see what I can do. Doesn't look like I'm gonna make it.
So. I wonder though if you told him, hey, be there at 3. Like would he just? Is he one of those people who you just have to? Because I've started doing that with some people.
Yeah, he's like that.
Where you just tell them, hey, you got to be there at this time because they're never going to be there at that time. So now when they actually show up, it's the prescribed time. But I just didn't.
I do that to my wife. She like if I know that we need to be somewhere at like 3:30. Yeah. I tell her we need to be there at 3, and then we get there right like 3:20, 3:30.
Has she caught on to your game?
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes, but
like you should like hire people like friends of yours that are like getting married or whatever. Yeah. They send you the invitation like, hey, I know this is a big ask. I'll reimburse you on our invitation. Can you just change the time to 45 minutes earlier?
It's true. Those types of things she's usually all right with, but it's just like it's even when we're leaving to go anywhere. It's like the amount of things that she's got to check off, and I'm sitting in the car. If I had $1 for every time I was sitting in the car waiting for her and watching the front door, the same scenario.
So you go to the car.
But yeah, I'm like, she'll meet me in the car, and I could always, if I wanted to, I could just say, why? Why don't you do all the stuff you got to do, and then I'll walk out there. But instead, I go, no, you know what? I'm going to take the kids. I can listen to some music. I can check some text, and I'll see you in 15 minutes.
It does put a little bit of heat on them. Whoever's still inside the house, if you're about to leave, there's a little bit of pressure that you feel if you know everybody else in your brood is out there waiting in a started car.
I think that's accurate.
You ever lay on the horn?
I think no, I don't. I don't do the horn. I don't want to sleep on the couch.
That's a relationship.
That's a couch
ender.
That's a couch moment. I don't want to do that. It's just at least the eyes moment that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I went to see House of Gucci, and when I was there,
you can't tell me if you liked it or not.
I can't. I think my initial reactions I can give social. It's just like it's definitely the kind of return to form by Ridley Scott. You know, it's like it's like when Ridley Scott puts out a movie, and you just like when he puts out something like
The Counselor,
right?
He's always got a comeback pitch, though.
I liked the movie.
Okay,
I liked the movie, but I'm going to go a little bit more into depth.
Did you see The Last Duel?
Never got a chance.
No one else did.
So what did he put? Did he put 2 movies?
Yeah, 2 movies
this year?
like 2 months. Yeah,
it's pretty nuts.
You got a Damon and Affleck, and their nights are, and nobody saw the movie. Nobody saw the movie.
Yeah, I know.
They had like $4 million opening weekend.
Those types of movies aren't working in the theater.
I get it's a post-pandemic, but
not just that. But not just. I don't even think. I think right now, even if pandemic cleared up, I think that people now, because of streaming, dude, like the amount of quality and content that you get. I mean, look, Red Notice is not a great movie, but the fact that you've got 3 major movie stars, and that's the type of movie that comes out in the early 2000s and makes $100 million.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's a franchise,
and now it comes out on Netflix. Like, and that's a big movie.
That's a kablam.
A movie like Last Duel, people aren't rushing out to see that.
Yeah,
because they're going to spend money. I finally saw that was what we can talk about. That's actually what we can make the majority of this about now. A spoiler review of Shang-Chi.
We got a new big thing.
No, it is. That'll be it. That's what I'll title it. I'll title it Shang-Chi spoiler review.
Don't title it that. The movie came out like 4 months ago.
People are waiting for me to talk about it. I didn't get a chance to.
And you're going to use me as your pawn in this game?
You saw the movie. It's the one movie that I can talk about that I know that you saw it.
I just look.
See anything else?
Yeah, we'll talk about Shang-Chi, which I really did enjoy.
Yeah.
And Eternals, I had some issues with like the length, but the storytelling itself was really well done. I don't know where we're going with the Spider-Man thing.
Oh, with Spider-Man. Okay, let's get into that then. So the trailer.
I'm gonna sound like I'm yelling at clouds here.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that cinema's rich with a history of protagonists who make a questionable decision, and that sets off our chain of events, right? So, for instance, with Iron Man, when he wanted to put a suit of armor over the world, and that didn't work out so well, right?
Right. Well, no, he wasn't allowed to.
But the whole movie, he built Ultron to try to do that, right?
Right.
And then Civil War happens. They have these whole things, but that is such a rich debate between two characters who you can both kind of see their logic in. But then you also have these moments of stupidity and emotion that flabbergast me to the point where it takes some of the enjoyment out of the film for me.
Great use of the word, by the way.
Case in point, Star-Lord at the end of Infinity War.
Yeah.
Right? Because he freaks out emotionally because somebody said something mean about his dead girlfriend. And
that
now,
was stupid,
now we lost billions of people.
Because of that stupid movie.
Because of that one rash emotional decision.
Right. Although if you really dive deep into Eternals, you'd think that maybe that Thanos had a point.
I always thought Thanos had many points.
Yeah.
But then I watched the Spider-Man trailer, and like it's cool. We're gonna have all these timelines. How do we get these timelines? Well, it's because Dr. Strange is casting a spell, and this. I know he's just a high schooler, but he's also been all over the world fighting crime with the greatest vigilantes in the universe, and while the doctor is conducting his thing, even when I was a kid, I would know if a doctor's operating on me.
Right.
Don't move. Stay still. Don't say anything.
Let the experts
and he's like, but maybe MJ could still, and maybe Aunt May.
Yeah.
Now I got to root for this kid who, by the way, because of that one moment of idiocy, now all these other timelines are open. Countless numbers of lives are at stake because of him.
Yeah.
I used to, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
John McClane did not buy his German buddy a plane ticket and said, come to L.A. And then that's the reason why the terrorists are there.
Right.
That is what bothers me about
I know,
this.
but you said it you started the conversation with it. This is a 17-year-old kid who, by the way, has been exposed to the world.
Yeah.
That his identity now, and they all think that he killed Mysterio. Yeah. And now he's running around and he's got this, and now the only person that he trusts is MJ. It's the only one that he can rely on. He wants everybody to forget that he's Spider-Man, but it means that the one girl that he finally loves, that he's trying for so long, is going to forget also, and that's what connected them. At 17, the stuff that you went through to try to and imagine and having those powers, I don't know. I'll give him a pass.
Dude,
I think it's a dope. We don't know, and we also don't know how it's going to happen, and we also don't know the benefits. Plus the fact a lot of people think that Doctor Strange is the Doctor Strange from What If, and that's not the actual Doctor Strange.
All right, well, you have all these theories, which again, I'm excited to see the movie tepidly, but it arrives at my second point where I think I'm starting to drift on the cosmology of the the universal implications of this.
Okay.
The alternate. I know you're a huge alternate timeline guy.
Gotta watch Loki, man.
I just prefer a little more. It doesn't mean that we can't have fantastical space exploration, but it's like it just seems like there's just so much that we're just wrapping into this, and now I got to worry about other timelines, and it just doesn't it seem for you? Because like I read comic books when I was a kid. Yeah. Is this gonna? Are mass audiences not because like I see hardcore comic book fans that we're friends with the Coy Janders of the world are like eating this up with a spoon because they're so excited, which is great because they're so steeped in the lore. The casual movie fan, are they going to get? I'm very curious to see how these movies play going forward.
I agree with you. That's a question I asked, but you know what?
You sound very negative.
No, you don't. It's a good question to ask because but you know what my answer to that question would be is Into the Spider-Verse. That movie made $400 million.
Yes, it did. But that's that first of all, the animation does separate it.
It does.
And it's also the fact that was never tying into the MCU that we had come to. Now, those characters exist in that world, but that felt like a one-off fun adventure to me.
Different questions, though, because as far as getting it and understanding it, right? So they set up the multiverse inside of that movie, and the multiverse made sense inside of the movie. I absolutely understand what you're saying as far as connecting to it. That's a different argument, but like the understanding of the multiverse, I think they set it up pretty well.
It was pretty simple. I think it's more the canon ties that you have to go retroactively make sure this thing fits within 27 movies. Star Wars has the same problem sometimes. And then also going forward, now we've set all these cool things up, so we can't really put the genie back in the bottle. And so, do you remember the first movie in the MCU was two rich scientists fighting each other? On Earth.
Yeah.
And now we're in this really exciting place because it opens a lot of doors to storytelling, but it also opens so many doors that it just feels confusing to me. And again, maybe it is just the factor that I'm a little fatigued. Maybe I'm just too old to care about it, but it feels like I enjoy it's the same thing. I go back to like playing Nintendo. You know, like I love having the two buttons, and then Super Nintendo's like, well, we got four buttons now.
You like the simplified stuff, and I think that a lot of people are, like you said, Captain America, I know his story, I know what it is, but when you start getting like Eternals where there's overall beings watching, or there's alternate timelines, or these, you know, like the time police inside of Loki and all of that stuff, right? Like that's absolutely, like I think my wife will be lost on a lot of stuff, and not even that she won't get it. She'll get it, I don't think she'll care. Right?
But it does get very convoluted
But
sometimes.
I'll tell you the reason why I think that this one will work to the overall audience.
Because it's Spider-Man and it's a bunch of villains.
But it's also because they're bringing back Tobey and Andrew. Now, whether or not they officially announced it or not.
We think they are. Yes.
But we know that they're bringing back Willem Dafoe. We know that they're bringing back Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Right? We know. So what that does is, even if you weren't connected to the MCU alone, that if you like those particular movies, right, you go, oh, well, that's the Doc Ock. And so then your friend tells you, yeah, pretty sure Tobey's coming back. Tobey's going to be in this one?
Right.
How? I don't understand. It's like, well, just watch.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
And again, the multiverse thing is not necessarily turning me off to this movie as much as the fact that how we got the multiverse. Like, I don't understand why it can't, if that is rogue Doctor Strange, or that's what if Doctor Strange, or even if it's the right Doctor Strange, why does it have to be the protagonist I'm supposed to be rooting for doing this one stupid rash decision? I know he's 17 years old.
Right.
I get that. I know Star-Lord maybe wasn't that world savvy and he had puppy love.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, man. I've been following you for so many movies and years now.
Yeah.
I'm just, maybe it's just I'm thinking about the cost of the collateral damage.
Sure.
You know,
look at the stuff that happened. Yeah, but look at the stuff that happened just from, like you mentioned, with the Star-Lord stuff and those things. But we also still don't know maybe if it is this Doctor Strange's plan to open this thing up, to have more people in it. And we don't know what the implication of No Way Home means. Some people think No Way Home means that he's not coming back and he's going to be connected to the Sonyverse from now on, that Tom Holland's going to be there. That's where he's going to be. Some people think it means that the villains are going to, there's no way home for the villains. They're going to be stuck in the MCU.
Right.
Because of the stuff that happened in Venom and these other things.
Good place to get stuck.
Yeah, so there's a lot. I want to see how it pans out. You can't deny, like, this is one of those movies. Like, I was talking about it. I can't remember to who, but it's like, I think it was Matt Sarah. But there's one of these. This is the type of movie. They're rare, right? Where you've got that level of excitement. And I won't give it to the level of excitement of like The Force Awakens, but like, there's this thing about it where it becomes an event more so than just a movie, right? They had an event to do the trailer reaction or watch.
I feel like Scorsese's words get taken out of context a lot with these movies, but it does, like when I watch that show in particular, it does feel like I'm going to a theme park.
Yeah,
and that's not necessarily a bad thing,
right?
Because I'd be excited to shove a bunch of popcorn on my face and see what this Spider-Man does when he fights
too, though.
Sandman or whoever else comes back, and maybe Tobey Maguire gets in a fight with Tom Hardy, Venom. Like it's a lot of cool premises, but it didn't grab me in the way that I was hoping, and I think a big reason is just because I'm thinking about the implications and why we're there in the first place.
Well, it also was a great question that you asked because of the fact that I have watched all of Loki, right? I did watch all of What If, and we both seen the Eternals, but the Loki and What If, I think they really dive into this multiverse stuff. I mean, What If specifically,
right?
Like that's all the whole.
Did
premise
you
of the
find
show.
yourself hanging in?
Yeah, I love that shit though. Like that's like I love that stuff.
Right.
Like so the what ifs are if Tony Stark so in Killmonger saves Tony Stark before he gets kidnapped in the first movie, and he ultimately doesn't become Iron Man, and these other things happen. Like I like that idea of it because of the idea of the multiverse, that if you think it and these things, like it's infinite, the multiverse. So there's a multiverse where you and I never met. And all those things.
And I know you love that stuff.
I love it.
It just makes my head hurt. I
can
barely function in this verse. Now you're telling me there's a bunch of other verses that I have to deal with.
There is a multiverse where you are married with children.
Just think about how hard we worked to get this thing in Endgame done.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And just think about how much we laid on the line, how much we sacrificed. Now you're telling me that's going on in an infinite other number of timelines that could be opened up at any time.
It could be.
If Dr. Strange hits one button instead of another button when he's casting a spell. It's all too much, Kristian. I don't know if I can do it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I enjoy that.
I don't want to be a wet
much.
blanket. I hope everybody enjoys Spider-Man.
Well, but I mean, but Endgame had that though. Endgame had the multiverse. Endgame started the multiverse stuff.
Endgame had a very easy solution to
time travel, but
we did time travel, and even the time travel, and again, like I know it's just a trailer, and so it's probably going to be a lot more streamlined and explained and palatable. But with Endgame, we still, and even that was a lot, like that scene where the America's ass scene when they go back into it was fun, but it was also like so Robert Redford was in that building at that time, and like all these other things, and then that end fight scene when we get all our heroes back, that was just very easy because for me as a sports fan, I was like, oh, they all went into like a penalty box for 5 years. And now it's like a hockey game, and now they're all out of the penalty box, and let's have this great fight.
But they had that explanation, which is one of my favorite conversations about time travel in movies at all, was when he's talking about Back to the Future, and Back to the Future is bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing, because the way that depending on what you believe as far as how time and works and potential parallel universes, is that if you went back and stopped your parents from meeting, you would not cease to exist in this timeline because it's a different timeline. You would cease to exist in that timeline.
Right.
And so you could come back to this timeline and still, because all of those events still happened.
Right.
And that's the way that they treated that. And that's the way that, depending on the most scientists that study this thing, that's what they say.
Well, they say that's the only way it's possible is if it's another timeline that you're going to.
Another timeline.
Not the current timeline.
You wouldn't, whatever timeline it is that you change, that you wouldn't exist.
I'm a one-timeline guy.
You exist. You're a one-timeline guy.
I'm a one-timeline guy.
That's it.
Nope.
You just want one timeline.
Nope. If somebody goes back, if you go back in time and you stop my parents from meeting,
that's it.
then
You're dead.
poof.
Yeah.
You're doing a show by yourself.
Hey, then maybe that's what I'll do.
Yeah, you're doing a show without a wet
I guess that I did
blanket.
that anyway. I guess I did that.
Who used to like movies. I'm sorry. I do like movies.
You do. Yeah, you don't.
I'm a fan of cinema.
So I think I've been, because last time we talked, you had been to the theater more than I, because I wasn't going back.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
loved
we can
it.
talk about it in a second.
Man, those fight scenes were great.
Really good.
And but yeah, I haven't seen anything in the theaters since the Eternals.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't too far away.
But Rocky IV, like, I'm definitely
I didn't
intrigued.
see that in the theater.
And I know, but I want to see Rocky IV. But the thing that because actually you and I were talking the day it dropped, and I was probably going to go home that night and watch Rocky IV, the new Rocky IV. Yeah. But then you told me about the documentary, and I was more intrigued by the documentary. So I watched that instead of Rocky IV.
I liked the documentary better.
Huh. Okay.
The idea of what he does is he's just so inspiring no matter what he does.
Yeah.
Like, especially that documentary is so inspiring. I don't think you're gonna like Rocky vs. Drago. I might be wrong.
Because you're pigeonholing me into this corner where Mark only likes music video workout montages and dumb robots.
The music videos aren't gone. That's what I didn't understand. he made it seem in that documentary that the music videos, he wanted to get rid of the 80s music videos.
I didn't get that feeling from the documentary.
That's what he said. At one point, it looks like he's like, it seems like it plays like these 80s music videos, and they push like the black and white for the There Ain't No Easy Way Out. The robot is dead. Kill the robot.
I can live without the robot.
And it seems spiteful for me, and I might be wrong, but he completely cuts out Brigitte Nielsen. Like, she's not in the movie, basically, at all. Like, barely in it at all. Like, maybe a couple, like, pops in here and there. She is obsolete.
I find her very integral to the events.
She's fantastic in the movie.
Because she's basically the mouthpiece of Drago.
Well, that's kind of, I bet you what his counter would be, because he says it in the doc also, is that he wanted to give Drago a little bit more to do.
And he wants to humanize him.
Which he does.
And the way she describes Drago.
Yeah, but it's more the guy, the Russian mouthpiece, right? Who's so whatever he hits.
Oh, the guy
destroys.
from like the Politburo or whatever.
Yeah.
They're both kind of trumping him up as that he is not a man, he's a machine.
Right.
They're both making him look like when we met Darth Vader.
Well, she tries to pretend in the movie, like they have this relationship, and they have that scene in the original when Brigitte Nielsen goes up to Apollo Creed's wife before the fight, and she's like, they're sportsmen, they're not soldiers, gone. And like I thought that is integral, right? I thought all that stuff was pretty good. Like what I thought overall is that a lot of the stuff that he cut out, he added a lot of really good stuff.
Right.
I think he should have added the stuff and then kept a lot of stuff, because the movie's still an hour and a half. It was always an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Still an hour and a half, but he cut out a ton of crap and then added a ton of stuff. I think that they had a funeral scene for Apollo, which I thought was pretty emotional.
I saw that was going to be in there.
The fight's different. The fight I like. It's definitely a little more vicious. The punches sound a little less like sound effecty, which is good. But there's a lot that works, and there's a lot I said, wish you didn't need to cut that. Like the whole scene with when Rocky goes to Apollo right before the fight in the dressing room, and he goes, "You will when it's over." You will when it's over. Like they cut that entire thing, but then he brings it back in like a flashback at the end. He just a little bit of the scene. It's like, no, that scene right beforehand. I didn't understand a lot of the stuff that he cut. And like in the beginning of the movie, it's like the first like 4 minutes is like a total recap of Rocky 3. And it's like, there's like, which is fine.
I don't hate that.
The reason why I'm cool with it is because I know the first Rocky movie is like back of my hand. Right. So someone who's just interested in seeing Rocky vs. Drago, who hasn't seen Rocky 3 in years.
You want a little previously on 24.
So I understand it. Yeah. I get it.
I'm going to need those for these MCU movies, Previously in the MCU.
I mean, well, it does.
This time, and then this, and then if you didn't see that TV show, it's a lot.
You brought it up, and I think you're right though. It's like if you don't watch. If you haven't watched What If and you haven't watched Loki, it was a question that we had talked about in the beginning when these things were announced. Like, do you lose anything? I think you do lose a little bit as far as the multiverse goes.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Right.
For the end.
Right. Did you see that movie?
No,
I didn't see it.
But I heard, I excitedly talked to one of our friends. One of our friends excitedly called me because I asked them. I was like, "Hey, just kind of give me the blow by blow. Do I need to see this movie? I like Carnage. I love Woody Harrelson. Right. Is it worth checking out?" And then I was like, "No, you can go ahead and spoil it." And then they told me what the end and then the post credit scene. And I was like, "Okay, that's interesting.
Sounds fun." And that's how it all ties in. But anyway, there's that. So Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And someone wrote this. I can't remember. It was one of the commenters was like, "It's the problem with seeing movies if you don't see them right away, because when there's a lot of hype on them, do they always live up?" Right.
Sure.
I liked this movie. Mm-hmm. I definitely liked Eternals better.
Really?
Yeah, I liked Eternals, but you're not wrong. The fights were amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that
it was next level. That I've never seen fight scenes that good in the MCU.
It was very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Right, the way that they played into it, even have one of the actors from the movie.
I mean, some of it felt like The Raid too, like not to that level, not to that gory, grotesque.
Alonzo grabbing you, and
our minds went to the same place. Yep. But they really did feel like that quick and that authentic, and it was just really cool movements.
And I like the idea of the father and son story and the reasoning behind it. Like, there's some really good emotional beats. I thought he was really good as lead character. I thought that Awkwafina, I think, added a lot to the role, because I'm always nervous when they put in either A, that big of a star, B, someone with those comedic chops that it's going to just be like a Kat Jennings situation from the first.
Kat Jennings, yeah.
You went from who's grown on me since, by the way. She's been in WandaVision. I thought she was fantastic.
Okay.
But when it starts to become, but she's not. She's like their relationship is built really, really well. Like the fact that you don't know, they're just they set it up. Are they boyfriend, girlfriend? Are they wife? And no, they're just buddies that have been hanging out for a bit, and he's just kind of laying low.
Happen. Yeah.
And then that scene on the train with Drago, by the way.
Yeah.
So Drago's son, and it plays us into this world, and it was me getting used to the world of this kind of the martial arts, traditional martial arts, combined with this fantastical stuff. Because once they introduce it's a spoiler. So if you ever seen Shang-Chi, then there you go. But once they introduce is it the dog?
Can I let the dude?
Yeah, let him. Go ahead, you let him in.
The dude.
Bring him in.
What's up, dude?
There he goes. So here comes the dude. Dude, come here. Hey, you.
No, don't jump on him.
We're on the air. Do you want? Hey, you want to just bring him over here? Let him run over here. I'll grab him. Just let him run over here. I'll come over to me.
I thought it was one of those scrolls we were talking about.
Come here, dude. Come here. Check it out. See, that's what everyone thinks is a scroll now.
Look at that.
How good does he look on camera? He really does.
He's just photogenic. He pops.
He's starting to stink like Taz, though. I'll tell you that. He's really going at it. So, audio listeners, right now. All right. So my wife is taking him. There you go. So, anyway, thanks, dude. Just crack it just a little bit because we don't want the squirrels to get in here. Thank you. That's what I'm dealing with now is squirrels. Anyway, so it's got that traditional. What do you got? An important call?
No, just
checking your tweets.
Getting a lot of No, there's a lot of incoming
about things that we talked about before the show.
No, work stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Shang-Chi, the traditional like martial arts side of it, and then once you get to the Ben Kingsley stuff and they reveal him, I didn't know how I was going to feel about that. But once again, I went and on Disney Plus, I watched that Hail to the King.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
So it's like a little short film about him, Trevor, in jail.
Right.
And they're like this, and he mentions it. He mentions it in Shang-Chi, how reporter came, and then he gets broken out by the Mandarin because Mandarin wants to talk to him for impersonating him, right? So that helped me with this movie because I had seen that. And I watched that little short, and I knew exactly what he was talking about because some people might get lost. Like, how the hell did he get out of jail? He was in jail, and he mentions it in the movie, talks about it, but you actually see all that.
Right.
And so I loved that. I liked the idea, even when Shang-Chi's dad is telling him, he's like, people have been posing for me, and the idea, the mythology behind how long he's been around with the rings, the idea that he left it behind for his mother and how his mother passed. And I thought all that stuff was really, really good. And like I said, I liked the movie a lot. I just, I wonder if I would have seen it a little early, if I would have liked it more. I don't know. I liked it. I don't know if I fell in love with it the way that everybody else did.
Yeah,
really good though.
Oddly though, I just I liked seeing Ben Kingsley again as that character, but it felt a little
goofy.
It felt a little apologetic to me. It was like, hey, remember Iron Man 3? Sorry, y'all didn't like that twist, but now this is why it worked, and it just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't take me out of the movie, but I was like, that was the least interesting part of the movie.
I got a kick out of him when he was talking to the faceless furball.
Funny.
Like even when they were driving through and he's telling them like which way to go, and I found myself, like at first going, I don't know if they're really pushing the bonkers on this, the thing with no face, but then when you start to realize what it's about and the idea that his dad is just obsessed with trying to get his wife back, and the idea and I liked
he's hearing her through the rocks, and it's
all
like
of that.
That's just a pretty tough thing to resist.
You can't get past the fact that it's just not real, and that he's burdened by it,
right?
And the idea that he could have been, he tried to be good and it didn't work, and then he passed it off to his son, and they had and the son, that was the thing though to me. I thought they were going to develop. I mean, I did like at the very end, I guess, where they handed over the 10 rings to, or the the 10 rings is the name of the gang, right?
Sure,
I thought so. But either way, they handed off to the daughter, which I liked, but I thought that they kind of moved her to the side at one point. Like
Yeah.
she had like a bigger role in the beginning, and then she just kind of then as it starts to develop and the dad comes back, they just kind of push her to the side, and then it's like, oh, now she takes over.
Well, what I liked about it was I feel like that lore of the Ten Rings is so much more conducive to expanding the MCU, I think, in an honest and in a digestible way.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, because there's a lot that they're putting on, like a lot of new mythology, but it never felt overwhelming. And I never was worried like, oh, but that, and so now how is like what?
Yeah,
what?
I agree.
And so there weren't too many like dots that feel. It felt like more pieces of a puzzle were fitting.
I think it goes back to your point when you're talking about like the multi. This is that simple story.
Yes.
This is that straight up. This is an origin story.
I always love a good origin story.
Yeah, and it does play into the very end. You know, get that credit scene. Like I thought that where you have Benedict. Oh my God, from Dr. Strange.
Cumberbatch.
Not Cumberbatch, isn't it? Oh my gosh,
Wong.
Wong. Thank you. So I love because everyone was so convinced that in that scene that we saw when that trailer came out that it was Abomination that he was fighting from Hulk.
Oh, right.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just somebody else. And then so Wong winds up beating his ass, and then he goes out, takes off, and then they have that scene with Hulk and Captain Marvel at the end. I thought that was a good touch. It's a good way to kind of entering them into the fray, and there was that, and there's with those moments of comedy that we were talking about, how that's where Awkwafina always shines, right? I didn't buy the stuff with her as the Archer though. Like that stuff to me was that's when I started. I was fine with that. Yeah. It's the same type of stuff that I have. I there's another thing I'm going to talk about soon. It's like I don't mind when it's like, okay, this is the thing that we've given that you're going to be able to do, and once you do it, you're going to be great at it.
Right.
But give it some time.
Right.
Let's figure, like, there's something else. Again, we're reviewing something soon where a particular person is just wrecking shop, and it's like, I want to see you wreck shop,
right?
But ease into it, because it's like, first of all, if you start at 100, there's nowhere else to go, but this is a little different, I guess, because it's just the reasoning behind it was she's got to shoot that dragon.
She's got to hit the clutch shot right there. She got to
hit that shot.
I've been playing basketball that long, but you got to drain this deep three. It all the training stuff. It all goes back to, and you may not remember this. I do. We might not have been
together.
You saw X-Men First Class.
It was Riley. So did Riley.
Yeah, but did you see it again with me?
I don't know. Maybe. I love that movie.
Because I remember sitting in the theater, I think it was with you, and again, everybody liked the movie, but there was like an audible kind of like murmur chuckle when Jennifer Lawrence delivers that line, like, because they have this like huge training at the mansion, and she's like, but we've been training so hard all week, and it's like, this is only
a week. Yeah.
You only have a week to fight this?
Yeah. It's true.
We've been training camp for a week? Yeah,
yeah.
It's and so now it's like that timeline is even truncating more.
Yeah,
where it's like you discovered something special about yourself. You have 3 minutes to perfect your craft before you got to go up against the biggest baddie in the galaxy.
It's a lot of forgivable stuff in all these things too. I right before you got here, I was responding to the comments on our Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Far From Home. Yeah, Far From Home. And there was a guy who the guy's going to correct me, but Denmark, and it doesn't. Remember, there's that scene when Spider-Man just gets his ass kicked by Mysterio, and he passes out on a train. He winds up in some like small little village.
Right.
So his commenter was like, "This pissed me off because here's really what would happen in that case. This little town, it wouldn't happen. They would have checked them at customs. There would have been these things. I'm like, yeah, but there's also like beings flying around in the air.
Right.
There's also superheroes. Like little things you got to let pass. You know, like little things you got to go. It doesn't mean it doesn't have. You can't go, well, wait a minute, but you got to let it pass. Otherwise, because you let those things.
I try to save that for the big stuff. I think we all have those things, and so my issue with the No Way Home trailer was, I think, like the big stuff.
Yeah,
you go back to Far From Home. Again, the kid made already a huge blunder by giving Mysterio Tony Stark's glasses.
Right.
And so you'd think you'd learn from that. Again, that's like a normal 17-year-old kid. Maybe I can say he's never been a wizard before.
He didn't want the responsibility.
This is a special 17-year-old.
Yeah, I know, but still, it doesn't mean that he's still not 17. All the stuff you did when you're 17.
I was never recruited to fight international.
You never got bit by a spider?
I never got bit by a spider.
Yeah, right. But that does.
Well, no, I did get bit by a spider.
Yeah, but you never got powers because of
not a radioactive spider.
Right, but imagine if you did. And you'd still be the same Mark Ellis. You'd still be that same, and you know.
I like to think I could hold it together. Imagine you're
back
getting.
then, you'd be swinging for nachos.
You're getting a vasectomy. I don't care what age you are. You are staying perfectly still until the doctor completes the procedure.
True.
You're not freaking out in the middle of it, saying, "Oh wait, can you not cut the whole thing? Can you just cut a little bit?" So a little.
I know. Yeah, look, you're not wrong.
I can't stand these decisions these characters are making these days.
Well, look, you got a better decision to make, Mark, because DraftKings, they're
I'm
back.
in.
And I know that you're excited. I know that you're watching football. That's what you do.
It's what I do for a living.
And it is Thanksgiving this Thursday, so be thankful for family, be thankful for food, and be thankful for free bets. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It has a Turkey Day no-brainer that you can't miss. New customers can bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game, and you can win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. Ellis just woke up. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state
Come
yet,
on, Washington.
you can still get in on the Thanksgiving NFL action. So make your first deposit, and you can play free for millions with DraftKings daily fantasy football contest. DraftKings, it's safe, it's secure, it's reliable, and best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. But here's what you have to do. You got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code BIGTHING and bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game, and you can win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code BIGTHING this Thanksgiving at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm in, man. I believe in I believe in football for another week with my team. Big win over the GOAT. So
Yeah, that was big. So,
we'll see.
What are you doing for the holidays? You going home?
Going to Florida for Thanksgiving.
What's in Florida?
My uncle and his family. Mom's going to fly down there. Aunt.
What part?
Near St. Pete-ish.
You should call
a little like Bradenton.
You should call my brother.
Yeah.
Probably around that area.
I,
you performing while you're there?
Him and I text frequently. No plans to. No.
All right. Well, don't brag about it.
No, but my my mom texted me. She's like, "Hey, some of the family is going to do an escape room Friday night, like the Friday after Thanksgiving, and they want to know if you were in." And I was like, "I'm out."
Yeah, you don't like to do things anymore.
I don't like to do escape rooms.
I feel like
I've never done one. So
I feel
maybe
like 5 years ago you would have.
10 years ago I would.
10?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe getting more responsibilities and more jobs, which is great. And I don't know. I think that a lot of times, you're younger, you agree to things. You're like, oh, that could be fun. We'll see how it goes. And now I'm just kind of, I think that there's been much like the stuffing I prefer. Yes. There's a hardened crust about me now. Yeah. And it's very hard to penetrate that, which is why I
kind of like it more.
This, Mark?
Yeah.
No, it's a pretty... I really don't feel bitter in my heart. But I think I come off that way.
You're not to me. You're like me without the kids.
Okay.
I get it. I understand you more.
Well, yeah, because the pushback is like, oh, you don't do escape rooms. What, you don't like fun? It's like, of course I like fun. I live for fun.
But it's what you find. It's like the same thing. There are people who like The Last Jedi, and there are people who don't.
Right.
There are different versions of what you like.
Right.
And that is exactly why, hey, I remember as a kid, loved roller coasters. Mm-hmm. Loved them. Yeah. I went on a Harry Potter ride with my daughter.
I bet in Universal?
2 or 3 years ago. Got motion sickness.
Did you really?
Wanted nothing to do with it ever again. And I lived for roller coasters as a kid. Like I would drag everybody to go with me, screaming and yelling. I would stay on there, hey, let me stay again.
Yeah.
Now it's like, because my daughter the other day, I felt terrible. Like she goes, when we go back, I want to go on the new one. And I'm like, I don't fucking go near that.
I'll go on that with her.
You should go on with her.
Yeah.
Come with us, because I can't.
I'm in.
Come with us, because I need someone to go with her, because I can't. It's not a matter of not wanting to. I'll get ill, and I don't want to do that. Then it'll ruin the rest of the trip.
You're past your coaster prime.
I am.
I'm excited to see, because last time I went to Disneyland, again, not my choice, but you go to Disneyland, and they have some really good coasters there.
Yeah, they do.
And I really enjoyed it. That was my favorite part by far. And it was Hyperspace Mountain or whatever it is, and the one on California Adventure, I think it was called Scream or something. Okay. It's actually got a loop in it. Okay. And I love a good loop. I mean, I grew up going to Busch Gardens.
You like the water ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the water ones.
Yeah, and so now I'm excited because now I have a niece and 2 nephews who are about that age to like go to theme parks, and so I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's see if Uncle Mark still got the stuff. Yeah, now I can buy beer at theme parks.
I'm gonna. That one is gonna be your fun. I'm gonna make you go.
Take me up on it.
Yeah, I will.
You foot the bill for the butterbeer, and I'm good.
We'll go because like my wife and I aren't going near that thing. She really wants to go, and you can be fun Uncle Mark for that one.
I'm totally in.
That'll be
you
great.
Cool with people who wear sleeveless shirts at theme parks?
100%.
That's going to be me.
That's going to be everybody. That's what happens at those parks.
I remember thinking, like, being at Busch
So
Gardens
you'll be around your people.
and just being cognizant of, like, this is how a lot of people dress.
Yeah, that's probably where you got your fashion sense from. You didn't even realize it. You took it with you for the rest of your life. And it implanted.
The 2 shirts that I remember seeing people wearing at Busch Gardens being like, oh, wow, that's a real statement, was one, everybody was excited about Tyson's comeback fight, and so I saw people wearing.
Really?
I guess so, yeah. And it was like Mike's back or whatever. But the one that I remember, my brother and I were like, that's a bold statement. What's this shirt that said "New Kids Suck"? Like New Kids on the Block, and it was like, oh man, they're fighting the man. You know, they're rebelling against this popular boy.
Somewhere, Joey McIntyre is like, "Well, I do."
Yeah, right.
Joey McIntyre. He's like, what? How did that happen? He became like the cool one. Remember, Jordan was the one back in the. All the girls loved Jordan.
Jordan Knight was pretty smoking hot.
He's
back
like
in
the
day.
accountant now.
Yeah, Donnie's always been like on the same level.
Yeah, Donnie's like the cop.
Right. But he could
either be the cop or the mobster.
He was like the bad boy, right? Donnie was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He's also like 30 years older than.
True. Speaking of Wahlbergs, is that people really lost their shit on the Uncharted trailer. I love that game.
So you got again Tom Holland making hopefully better decisions. You have Wahlberg in there. Yeah, I mean I saw that trailer.
Did you ever play the game?
I never played Uncharted.
Okay, so then I'm curious what you think, because I did play the game. I had way less of a problem than most people did with Tom Holland, like as a young Drake.
Is that who people were reacting to more than Wahlberg?
No, Wahlberg definitely is the one for sure who's the most. They're like, come on, that's not even close.
Right.
But I think everybody just sees Holland now as Spider-Man, so they don't like. He doesn't have that same kind of swag that Nathan Drake has
without the MCU backing.
Yeah, no. Well, Nathan Drake has like a certain swag about him that I just don't know if Holland pulls off yet. But he's also the younger version of him.
Who would you have cast? You're not allowed to say Nathan Fillion 20 years ago.
Yeah, then I have no answer. Does Mike Kalinowski count?
Sure.
Mike Kalinowski 20 years ago.
All right.
Sure. But I had more of a problem with Wahlberg.
Okay.
Because the Sully character, like Bruce Campbell from like Burn Notice, perfect Sully. Like, I mean, but again, that's
right
years ago, but that type of character, that type of Wahlberg's just like, come on, kid, do what you got to do. You jump from box to box.
It felt to me like I was watching another Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything special to you.
No, you could show me scenes from Tomb Raider and scenes from Uncharted, and I probably would not be able to.
It's unfortunate, but I get it.
That'd be a fun game.
I know, but
we expand the schmo down into an alternate timeline where you got to just watch it. You have to watch a scene from a movie and say, is it A or B?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Not too far away from that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Like a bank robbing scene, and it's like, is this the town or Point Break?
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
I saw you guys did that for Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, man, that was a fun episode.
Who was on the Point Break one with you?
Kyle Brandt from Good Morning Football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is a massive Point Break fan.
And Rotten Tomatoes has to have it wrong. What do they have it at?
69%, which I was actually, because that's fresh.
Yeah.
And I was happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, the movie, again, it's so much of it holds up.
I watched it not too long ago. It's great.
Did
you ever watch the remake?
I saw it in the theater.
The remake?
Yes, okay. I saw it in the theater, and I tweeted, because I went to go pee about halfway through the movie. I remember tweeting at the urinal, as we all do, that hey, I'm halfway into the new Point Break, and I don't hate it yet.
Yeah.
And then walking out of the theater, I was like, okay, now I hate it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a bad movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have been a good movie. But if you just called it something else, because those guys are more like extreme sports than the original ex-presidents were extreme sport enthusiasts, but these fellas took it to like they're like doing motocross and like doing all these other things that you didn't really
wanted to
expect.
expand on it. They could have made it a different movie. And just, it's okay sometimes to say, if it's Point Break, but it's not Point Break, and go, well, this is kind of like Point Break. I think that does you more justice than saying this is a remake and calling it Point Break.
You should have called it like it would have been fine in the Triple X franchise.
Yeah, or just something that it's like, it's like, oh, like, look, Fast and Furious, perfect example. You watch the first Fast and Furious. It's called Fast and Furious, but it's a ripoff of Point Break. It's
almost beat for beat.
Beat for beat. And nobody ever says, oh, this is a remake of Point Break and it sucks. It's like, this is just like Point Break. And then he started a franchise off of it. So, like, that's the type of stuff that you can do. Like, another example, we're just talking about, so, new Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
So, Afterlife is absolutely a tie-in to 1 and 2. More so 1, but 1 and 2. And it's a tie-in as where you have the other Ghostbusters.
Right, 2016.
Which they didn't had then. We talked about this back in the day when we saw it. Had they actually tied that more so into the original franchise and put them as the daughters or something else, and didn't make Bill Murray like a weird
a debunker and
then Aykroyd's a cab driver. It was just weird.
Yeah, the cameos didn't hit.
They didn't hit in the movie itself. It's like you have really funny actors in there. Hemsworth is fine.
You had some really funny. I mean, again, I still like that movie for what it was. The Jaws mayor line killed me and still kills me to this day because Andy Garcia plays like sort of the rotten mayor.
Okay, and
I think it's Kristen Wiig who says you're worse than the mayor from Jaws, and he like takes such offense to it. He's like, I am not the Jaws mayor. Like, it was just a funny one.
But even that, it's like even you could even try to do something where it's similar Ghost Hunters or something along the lines where you probably change some of the stuff up, Firehouse and all those things, but you could have done that with and it had nothing to do like the fact that it didn't matter who they were, men, women, it just it didn't work together with how they were, and they sold it in that trailer like
I remember that was the big problem you had was that it's a different universe.
Yes.
Again, timelines.
That's right.
I'm so sick of these goddamn timelines. But it set it up to like where it is continuing though, because it's like 25 years ago. Now it's like, now we're going back, but it never existed in the first place. So now this is the first time we're doing it, and it was a little confusing.
You don't mess with, but when you start messing with expectations, that's where you get into trouble. That's
sure.
where you get in trouble.
And so putting the label of a beloved franchise, either Ghostbusters or a Point Break or now see, Die Hard has done it differently because Die Hard, the last
wasn't
two...
a sequel to Commando 2?
Pretty disappointing.
Wasn't the first one? Wasn't something like that?
It was based on a novel, but it was loosely based on a novel.
Yeah.
But originally Schwarzenegger said no. Stallone said no. Richard Gere said no.
Right.
A lot of people said no. Nobody wanted Bruce Willis because they're like, oh, the moonlighting guy, the blind date guy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And he ended up being perfect for the role. Did you know that Bruce Willis turned down the role of Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon?
No, I don't think I knew.
And Mel Gibson turned down the role of John McClane in Die Hard.
No, that's crazy. Yeah.
And so you look at where those two franchises are now, and they have been so ripped off and copied. Like, they've made their own sequels that have been very successful, but then ad nauseum.
Speed is Die Hard in a bus.
The bus is Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah.
Under Siege, the boat is Nakatomi Plaza.
Yep.
Sudden Death, Van Damme playing goalie in an ice rink, that is Nakatomi Plaza.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like you can do this is because even if the criticism is that's just Die Hard on a boat. That's just, well, yeah, but was it good?
Yeah.
And then because Die Hard on a boat or Die Hard on a boat was good. Die Hard on a bus was good because Keanu Reeves and Steven Seagal both really good in it. Speaking
Great
of which,
actors.
Warner Brothers doing a reboot of Under Siege, by the way.
Okay, that is one you should reboot.
Right. Well, I mean, that goes back into it.
Don't make it like the nephew of Casey Ryback now he's on a boat.
Well, that's the thing with reboots and remakes is that I happen to like the reboot way more. Like, again, using the example, I would much rather them try to do something like Afterlife because Ghostbusters Afterlife.
No, so you like the...
It's a reboot. It's a reboot of the franchise. It's
not
a remake.
So you're saying Ghostbusters 2016 was a remake?
Remake. That was a remake. Reboot of the franchise. I mean, there's ways to it depends. You could
feel like
you could also say
is a sequel.
You could say that. I think you could say that too. But it depends though, right? So I think that right now it does play as a sequel.
Okay.
But if it starts to go into a new franchise and there's 3 new movies, it's rebooted the franchise.
And when you have this amount of time pass,
right,
then a proper sequel has trouble working, like Dumb and Dumber or something like that.
Yeah, well, you can even say that The Force Awakens, in essence, was a reboot of the Star Wars franchise also, right? It was a sequel, no doubt, but it was also a reboot of the franchise because when it's, like you said, when it's that dormant for so long and it hasn't been a movie, there hasn't anything, what's a reboot? Starting it back up and getting it to move again.
That universe is just held on a different level of
it is, but in definition
of being sacred. Yeah. And The Force Awakens isn't a reboot simply because it leaned so much on
the originals.
So like the connective tissue is so strong there. Now, if you just had Rey, Finn, and Poe running around and they heard this myth of Luke at one point, but then it went in a totally different direction, that maybe is a reboot. But Ghostbusters Afterlife, from what I'm hearing, has enough connective tissue to be a sequel, but it also is enough of a reboot to sort of separate itself.
Yeah, see, my definition of it too, and I'm is more so as if it's rebooting the franchise to get it back on track, if it's getting like to move it, like not remake it. Like Footloose was a remake,
right?
Ghostbusters 2016 was a remake. When they're rebooting the franchise to get it kind of moving again, that's to me, in essence, what a reboot is. But anyway, so
yeah, we're beating around the bush. The bottom line, there's literally no way, and I'm saying this right now on record, there is no way that a remake of Under Siege is going to be anywhere near as good as the original.
No, it can't be, because
there's no way.
There's no way, especially from the time that it's on. Like those, they don't make the movies the same way.
What was the last good Die Hard-esque movie?
The one with Gerard Butler in the White House. The first one. What was it called?
White House Down?
No.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah. I like that first one. And it was rated R. I love
all those movies.
Yeah, I like it.
Great.
Yeah, London Is Falling. It's all right. But
no, the last one with Nick Nolte for no reason.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one.
Right?
Dude, I totally forgot
Angel
about
Has
that
Fallen?
One.
It's the best one.
It's funny. Yeah. But no, there's things though in that, like, this is the big criticism for most people on Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? It's that it leans too much on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of like, hey, remember that.
Right.
Tons of it. But the thing that I don't think enough people are also taking into consideration, the movie is made by Jason Reitman.
Yep.
Whose father made this movie. He grew up with this stuff. This was probably a massive part of his life for a long time. This is a love letter to Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. And it's also a family movie. This is a very different movie. The Ghostbusters that we knew, like and I used it in the review, is that there's that line where Bill Murray famously says, "It's true, this man has no dick." It's a different, it was as much made for that Saturday Night Live. Like Saturday Night Live back then was more so like for the comedy club audience at 10 o'clock at night. Saturday Night Live back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, so you think 1984 Ghostbusters just kind of stumbled upon this found gold of being a family movie, even though it necessarily wasn't made to be that?
It wasn't, because it had that same kind of Animal House people in it, and the same circle of those guys that could really rip those types of inappropriate jokes and throw those in there. And of course, you had some family stuff in there, but there's some stuff going on that was, pretty risque.
A lot of sexual tension.
Yeah, and there's little of that in this one, but it's really, the lead girl is so good.
Yeah.
Spengler's granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's so likable. Spangler. Yeah. She's so likable, and you're just like, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be what's his face, Wolfhard. That was Finn
Wolfhard. Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like the lead kid, and they were going to go Stranger Things with him, and they don't. And I liked that because he's always that guy. He's got a different type of role. He's just he's her brother, and that's like an awkward kid that's trying to meet the girls in the town and trying to figure it out. And he gets involved and he helps, but it's not his story; it's her story. Mm-hmm. And it really works because she's so charming. She's so like Paul Rudd's great. And then they have the Carrie Coon from Leftovers.
Yep.
So I found myself it's a little slow at points.
I heard it was slow, and then the end
slow.
Makes it worth it.
I teared up at the end.
Good.
I teared up at the end. So I'm curious. I feel like you'd really like it.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll see. But
I don't watch movies anymore. So
no, you don't. You know what else I feel like you'd like, Mark?
What's that?
I feel like you would like to brush your teeth a little bit more.
I could use some more QUIP in my life.
You know you love QUIP.
Yeah.
I know you do, and you should. It's funny. Everybody that comes on this show uses QUIP, and they should. Because you got to practice health routines, man. It's very, very important, especially as you get to become two grouchy old turds like myself and Mark. It's important. And learning new habits, it makes your life a lot easier. And get into it with QUIP, man. So even just having QUIP and the way that it times out, and it just makes it fun. And what good health does, it starts with good habits, and QUIP, it makes it easy. It delivers all of the oral care essentials that you need to care for your mouth. Check this out. The QUIP electric toothbrush is loved by over 7 million mouths, and it has a lightweight and sleek design for adults and kids with no wires or bulky charger to weigh you down. It's got a multi-use travel cover that doubles as a mirror mount for less clutter. So on top of your brushing, you can also upgrade your QUIP with a new smart motor that will track and improve your brushing with the free QUIP app, and you can earn amazing awards like free refills, products, Target gift cards, and more. Beyond the brush, QUIP has everything you need to build a complete routine, whether it's anti-cavity toothpaste, they have mint and watermelon, by the way, and that it helps prevent cavities. It's got refillable gum that is sugar-free, has long-lasting mint flavor, and it comes with a dispenser. In addition to brush heads, QUIP also delivers fresh floss, toothpaste, mouthwash, gum refills every 3 months from $5. Shipping is free, so you can save money and skip the hustle and bustle of in-store shopping. Now, if you go to getquip.com/bigthing right now, you're going to get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/bigthing. GETQUIP.com/bigthing. It is QUIP, the Good Habits Company. Love that QUIP.
It's good stuff. Makes it easy.
Really good.
Convenient.
Everything else good with you? You've been gunning up a lot?
Yeah, going to D.C. That's exciting.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for the invite.
Tickets at markellis.live. You know that the invitation's still there.
No,
Careful, man.
I know. Next year, I'm going to take you up on it for sure, because once we start getting into the tour and everything we're doing as far as Schmodown, and we've got the Spectacular coming up. Have you seen the ad? You want to see the ad?
Yeah, I want to see the ad.
Where is it? Here's the ad for the Schmodown Spectacular.
Don't miss the biggest event in movie trivia history, the Schmodown Spectacular 6. All of the championships are on the line. Lady Justice Marisol McKee looks to defend her championship for a second time. The Outlaw John Roca, the final match in the Outlaw's storied career. Get your tickets now, theschmodownlive.com.
That's how you do it.
You think this is the biggest event that we've done so far?
It's massive.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, because you have a lot of new, you have some old.
Yeah.
You put it all in the Vitamix. You're talking about legacies on the line. You're talking about people trying to build their legacies, trying to establish themselves.
Full card now announced at this point. So we got. You want to give predictions?
I don't do predictions.
You don't do predictions.
I think
that's fair.
I don't think it's fair.
I don't do it either.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
No, I don't. No, I don't, because
you do in your head.
In my head,
yeah.
But
don't even let my
if I do it on the air, like I get texts. Oh, you're my favorite. You said they're your favorite. You want them to win. You want this to.
I don't even let the synapses connect in my head like that.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. Professional.
Yeah. And other than that, everything else has been going pretty good. I think we got this channel now is moving. We got over 22,000 now. It's nuts.
You're welcome.
It's old. It really reminds me of the old school days, though. Like, cause one I've been building out like really on my own. Like, we have the for Schmodown, we have all the help that we have over at Skybound, but over here it's like me, Derek, the marketing guy who's amazing,
right,
and Scott, our podcast guy. We're really the only three that are really.
I have yet to meet a Derek or a Scott. I don't think
so. Yeah, Scott's not in town, but Derek, dude, this guy.
Marketing genius.
Not only just a marketing genius, like really invested in like the analytics and like the idea. And him and I will be talking about back and forth about, okay, this is the audience really seems to be digging this. We should try to do this. We should do that.
He's your Jonah Hill to your Brad Pitt.
He is
in Moneyball.
But he is, and it's like, but he knows what I want to do, where I want to do stuff that I'm just like talking about, like this type of stuff, and just like because I don't want to do this is tracking, so you should talk about this.
No, you want to talk about the things you want to talk about.
Yes.
A lot of times those do line up with the big topics of the day.
Well, the House of Gucci, right? So House of Gucci is an example like that. A lot of people. I didn't do a trailer reaction to that one.
Yeah,
right? But people are really interested in this movie. It's a movie I want to see, so I went and saw it, checked it out. Like the Hawkeye. People want to talk about it. People want to hear about it. Yep. Spider-Man. People want to talk about it. People want to hear about it. I want to see those movies.
Yeah.
Rocky vs. Drago. Put that out there because obviously that's something. I wish I would have gotten that out a little earlier because I think people were like hyped up when it first came out. But still.
Like me. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, there's something to this where I just get, and I've had this issue for a while. Yeah. I remember thinking this when Ang Lee's Hulk came out. because I saw
Shitbox
I saw the commercial for Hulk. It debuted during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the movie came out like that summer, but it was like the Super Bowl was like, oh my God, that is Hulk. And they had the, like music blaring, and it was awesome. And I was so excited. I would have gone to see it the next day. And then just something waned in me. And so now I see all these trailers. Like even Rocky IV, it was like I was ready to run through a brick wall watching that trailer, and then time passes, and you're like,
what's next?
Figure it out.
What's next?
Yeah.
Are you besides ESPN of old Washington games? What are you watching right now? Too? Anything?
They haven't had us on ESPN in a minute. I watched Dope Sick.
Oh, how is that?
Really,
That's
really
Keaton,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really heartbreaking. I mean, it's a true story about the opioid crisis, and it's just this one little town in Tennessee, but then they also like you just look at the I some of it's dramatized because I've seen the HBO did a great 2-part documentary series on it, but man, those Purdue Pharma, but the Sacklers,
it's Hulu, right?
Man.
Hulu,
yeah, and your boy Michael Stuhlbarg is great in it as a very conniving evil genius.
Where are you at with Dexter? I know you started with Dexter.
Still in season 1, but I'm gonna keep blasting through that, and I'm gonna watch The Witcher.
Okay, is this for
on
work?
Apple TV, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say there's no way you're just gonna venture into. I'm not saying you wouldn't be interested in it, but you venturing into it on your own, there's no way unless it's for work.
No, I realized I didn't know this until last night. I actually had been paying for Paramount Plus. So I'm like, let's give this a shot.
It's good.
The Mayor of Kingstown with Kyle Chandler and Jeremy Renner.
Good. No, not good.
Something happens in episode 1.
Yeah,
where I'm like, I don't think I'm making the distance with this.
Too stupid.
No, just
What?
something
What
happens.
Tell me.
I'm not going to tell you.
Why?
I'll tell you once the cameras are off.
Fine.
It could be interpreted as a spoiler. Now, there might be another timeline where that event doesn't ever happen.
Or it might be a timeline where you actually told me on the air and stop being a dick about
I just wonder if it's a cop-out at some
know.
point where it's like, you know what? We really wrote ourselves into a
Halloween Kills is on Paramount Plus, too.
Who?
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills is on Peacock.
That's what I meant.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
They both start with P.
Paw Patrol's on Paramount Plus.
I'm hearing great things about that movie.
You heard that from Justine Marino.
I did.
Yes.
She went to go see it all by herself.
My 4-year-old loves it, and so does Justine Marino.
You see that Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I did see it. I did watch it.
Is it good? That dog looks adorable.
Yeah, is it a great movie? No. But is it? I mean, that's the thing. I watch movies differently now. Like when I'm watching with the kids. Like I look if I'm sitting down. I was playing with the dog on the floor, and I look over and I see my 4-year-old and my 10-year-old laughing. Automatically, this movie becomes special to me.
Look at you.
But it's true. It's like, okay, that's a moment that I see them and that's making them happy.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm like, this, and there's this guy who's on, I forget what his name is, English actor he plays an American in this movie, but he was in Jungle Cruise, and he plays
They all play Americans.
Yeah, I know.
You know I'm British?
I did know that. I didn't know that. I didn't want to. I didn't know if I was supposed. It was like a secret identity. I was supposed to keep it quiet.
Most of the friends you folks have at home that you think are American, they're British.
They're all British.
And the ones that are not, Russian spies.
Before we get out of here, what's the love life like? You dating anybody?
Nope.
Good for you. All right, let's get out of here. Moving on, everyone. So thank you guys so much for joining us. It is Monday. We're going to be Wednesday. Got Matt Serra on, the great Matt Serra.
That'll be fun.
It's fun, man. I can't wait to have everybody listen to our conversation. It was a blast. We talk about a lot of some of the same things, a lot of different things here too. But his take is it's just
he's more excitable than I. He's not a Debbie Downer,
but he loves Dune, loves it. I do too, but he
still got to see it.
Loves Dune, and he goes off about Dune, in a great way. It's infectious when you.
When's the next Dune coming out?
Probably not for a bit because it just got greenlit like a couple months.
We haven't even made the. I thought it was one of those. That's right. That's right. I thought it was one of them. Hey, let's just shoot all of them at the same time.
If I was to guess, probably say 2023, 2024.
Good.
Yeah.
Make us wait.
Make us wait.
Like the old days.
All right, we're not going to make you wait too much longer. You got Wednesday for the big thing with Sarah, and then Friday is the big finale of the Spider-Man rewatch series with me, Winston Marshall. We're doing Into the Spider-Verse. Check out Mark Ellis, markellis.live, where he's going to be performing.
Washington, D.C., December 16th through the 19th.
That's right. And check him out on Rotten Tomatoes. That's on Peacock. And then, after that, next week, we have a bunch of stuff. We got my reviews of House of Gucci and the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye this week. So, thanks, guys. Have a great Thanksgiving, but I'll see you on Wednesday. But have a great Thanksgiving, and see you on the flip side. homemade. Oh yeah, subscribe. Don't forget that. Gotta do that.